So let's go ahead and compare Metro by T-Mobile's Motorola Moto G Stylus 2023 with the iPhone 15. So the Motorola was released in 2023, just like the iPhone 15. It's an overall bigger device. It's taller, it's wider, and it's thicker. It also is heavier than the iPhone. It's 1 ounce more heavy than the iPhone, which is 6 ounces. Build quality is different. The Motorola has glass and plastic, while the iPhone is glass and aluminum. For the connectivity, the Motorola has a nano SIM card slot. Also, it has eSIM technology, while the iPhone only has eSIM here in the US. Bonus with the Motorola Stylus, obviously it has a stylus, so you could use it to write things and use it instead of your fingers, so you can control, have more granular control, so it's pretty nice. It also has a water repellent design, so it doesn't have any type of IP dust and water resistance like the iPhone, which has IP68, and that's good for 6 meters for 30 minutes. So for the displays, the Motorola has a pretty nice 120 hertz refresh rate on its screen, while the iPhone 15 is lagging behind. It has a 60 hertz refresh rate. It's still pretty nice, but given the prices of these devices, one's a mid-range, the other one's a flagship, there's no excuse for the iPhone to have a 60 hertz refresh rate. For the screen size, Motorola Moto G Stylus has a bigger 6.6-inch display versus the 6.1-inch on the iPhone 15, and that's also going to help with the stylus, so you have a lot more space to work with. But they do have similar screen to body ratios at around 87%, so you get a little bit less bezel on the Motorola than the iPhone. Resolutions are kind of the same. They're on 1080p displays. Motorola has 399 ppi density versus the 461 on the iPhone. For OS, Motorola has a stock version of Android 13, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get any type of updates, while the iPhone has iOS 17 and will be getting several years of updates. For the chipset, the Motorola has a Snapdragon 6th gen processor, while the iPhone has the A16 Bionic. Bonus on the Motorola that it has a micro SD card slot, while the iPhone doesn't. Also, the storage, depending which model you get, you'll get 128 gigs on the Motorola, while the iPhone also has 128 gigs, and both of these phones have 6 gigs of RAM. For the camera situation, the Motorola has 2 cameras on the back, a 50 megapixel shooter and 8 megapixel ultra wide. Also, the iPhone has 2 cameras, 48 megapixel main camera, 12 megapixel ultra wide. Both of these phones shoot in 4K. Selfie cameras, they do different. The Motorola has 1080p video capability, while the iPhone does 4K. Bonus on the Motorola, it has a headphone jack, while the iPhone does not. Bluetooth 5.1 on the Motorola versus 5.3 on the iPhone. And both of these phones feature NFC, mostly used for payments. Also, both of these phones have USB Type-C, which the iPhone, that's something new to it. Now for unlocking your device, the Motorola has a side fingerprint sensor to unlock your device, while the iPhone relies solely on Face ID. The iPhone 15 also has ultra wideband 2 and emergency SOS with satellite. Battery size, the Motorola has the bigger, better 5,000 milliamp battery, while the iPhone has a 3349 milliamp battery. So smaller battery is probably going to have less battery life, although both of these devices will have close to all-day battery life. The Motorola has 20 watt kind of fast wired charging, while the iPhone has fast charging as well, 50% charge in 30 minutes, and it has 2 forms of wireless charging, MagSafe at 15 watts, Qi charging at 7.5 watts, and newly introduced with the USB Type-C port is 4.5 reverse wire charging, which will charge your watch and your earbuds or AirPods. And when it comes down to price, the Motorola is just a better device in general. The iPhone comes in with a price of $800 and then $830 if you want to get it fully unlocked from Apple, which is way more than the typical price of the Motorola Stylus, which is less than $500. And also, if you find it on prepaid, you could sometimes get it for free and get it as a heavily discounted device. You can pretty much get the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2023. You can get several of those devices for the price of one iPhone. So the overall better device in general for most people is probably going to be the iPhone 15, but it comes with a price tag. And there are also some very nice things about the Motorola. Obviously, it has the stylus. It has a higher refresh rate than the iPhone. It has a headphone jack. It has the SD card slots. There's just a lot to like on the Motorola, and I really like that 120 hertz refresh rate on the screen. You know, there's some pro features in the Motorola that just simply are not being put in the iPhone. Motorola also has its quick actions where you could like chop the phone and the chop motion to turn on the flashlight, and also the twist so you could unlock and switch between the cameras. So there's just some really, really nice features on the Motorola. And I think for most people, as long as you're not a content creator, you should be fine, because the camera's not that good on the Motorola. And also there's no proper editing software to make content on. But other than that, all your apps and everything will work perfectly fine. The chipset is good enough, and all the other features are just a bonus. So yeah, there's a lot you could do and a lot to like about the Motorola. But the overall better device, if you take everything into consideration except the price, the iPhone is the better device.